Here to keep the chase going, share information, spread unity, preserve our heritage and our culture. We're trying to achieve something that you just can't catch. We're always trying to find a better way, trying to make better dogs. That's what Dixie Doggers Podcast is. That's who we are.
This episode is brought to you by Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company. Marc Rankin specializes in Brahma and Brahma Cross cattle in Oglethorpe County, Georgia. You can contact him at 407-832-2077. 407-832-2077. This episode is also brought to you by Phil Wilson of UC Hunting Properties. If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. You can contact him at 678-791-3483. 678-791-3483, or visit his website down below in the description.
Good afternoon, everybody. You got Joe and Nate here. Dixie Doggers Podcast coming to you, ground and pound, doing it to you. We have a guest tonight, world famous, famouser than even Captain Kangaroo was. This guy is bigger than all of Texas because he is Texas. He is Texas. He's the Tejas Hunt Club, Brandon McDow himself. How are we?
How y'all doing tonight?
Doing
all
good.
Doing all right?
Yeah, man, we're doing good. Having a good time. What about you?
Most definitely.
Oh, getting ready. Got off work today. So I have a day job along with that Tejas Hunt Club podcast and everything, but got off work today. Been getting ready for SHOT Show and all the different trade shows that we have going on right now. So
cool.
I guess my day job is I'm the marketing coordinator for Silencer Shop. So we're the largest distributor of suppressors in the world. If you have like a local gun store, they probably have like a little kiosk somewhere in there.
Yeah.
We do all the NFAs, short barrel rifles, suppressors, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, sir. So I get to play with guns a lot and take pictures, videos, and stuff like that of them.
Sweet. Hell yeah. And you said you do the videography and stuff as well?
One of the guys. So I help. I shoot B camera on it. We have Brett, one of the guys I work with. He's a pretty good at his job. So he's our main camera and films and edits all of our content. And then I'll shoot some photos or do a little, like I said, B camera on the side. But yeah.
10-4. And you said your wife, she's with you on the podcast.
Yeah. She does. My wife, Megan, she does some of the episodes on the podcast, and then she films a lot too. So we have a company together. It's called Boars N Media. We do a lot of event photography and videography. We have customers, clients in the outdoor space too. So a lot of the ranches, not a lot, but the ranches that we have here in Texas, with the exotics and even in the equine space, we film rodeos. We're actually getting ready to go to an event in a couple weeks, Seth Frazier Memorial in Navasota. So we kind of do a little bit of, like you said in the intro, a little bit of everything in Texas.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I didn't know you did all that. You're a busy guy.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Just a little bit of everything. It's all the things that I really love and care about and have fun doing. So heard a long time ago, like you talk about, you want to work and at least work in something that you love. So getting to go to these events and cover and do photography and videography is pretty fun. And you get to get a little money too while doing it.
Yeah. Sweet. And there's ways you can always, seems like you can find a way to, if you put your mind into it and your ass into it, you can figure out a way to make a little bit of money doing what you really love.
Yes, sir.
There's ways to do it.
Yeah, I always think, especially now, if you ever seen those esports and that kind of deal, all those kids, growing up playing video games when your parents used to come in your room and be like, you need to turn that stuff off. You'll never make any money doing that. And then I'm pretty sure they're beating their head against the wall a little bit, thinking they should have chased after something a little more. But
yeah, exactly. There's no doubt about it. Because I said, it doesn't matter what it is. You can, like the video game stuff. My son, my youngest son, he plays some kind of games. I don't know. But I mean, he works all the time too. Now he's got to do a little bit of all of it. Yeah. But he had he had one of his friends that was really, really good at one of these games. And I mean, doing all these tournaments, and the kid was making money. I mean, like serious money. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be, I didn't know you get paid to play those video games.
Yep, you can.
I
You
mean,
can now.
like I said, so there's a way to make money. It doesn't matter what it is. If you love doing it, you can figure some way to do it. I can make money.
At least
but
have a little hobby.
Yeah, we can't. I make a little. I can make some money, but I can't keep money, and I don't make a lot of it. Like I can make like $4.
Yeah, that's why
I give her hell like
I hear you on that. That's why we're always working though.
You cold? I was asking Nate. We got the heat on in here, and I'm too hot. I'm fat, and
oh yeah, we got the heater kicked on over here too, man. It's been pretty cold for the past almost week now, and then we got some more headed our way next week too.
Yeah, I was thinking to say they're talking about it's going to kick us right in the nuts again next week.
Yeah, we still got snow on the ground.
I think Mother Nature needs a little loving.
Yeah,
I think she needs a little loving, boys.
Yeah, the wind chill is supposed to be at 11.
That bitch
here in next week. Yeah.
In Texas, it's going to be 11. Alabama, it's going to be -40.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think we're supposed to have snow next Tuesday and Wednesday, right before we leave to go to Braxton's.
Yeah. Don't say it's a surprise.
Oh, sorry.
Give it up the secrets.
Yeah. No, I was playing.
I was like, who's it a surprise for?
Yeah, I don't know. We'd let him know now.
Well, it was a surprise for Rodney because I forgot to tell him about his own plans, because Dad and I was calculating his days off, and so we planned this around him, and then we forgot to tell him. Mostly.
No, not we.
Yeah, I forgot.
Nathan forgot to tell Rodney that we're taking a trip next weekend.
Dad was going to remind
Arkansas.
And Dad was going to remind him. Rodney's like, "How do you know I'm going to be off?" And Dad's like, "Oh, we figured it out. We calculated your days." And Rodney's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be off then."
Yeah, he was like, "I got to make sure I'll be off work before I make plans."
I was like, "We already knew you were off. We had that planned already."
Oh yeah, that's what I told him. I said, you're off every other weekend. Rodney has the greatest work schedule for real.
Yeah.
He works. Let's see. Say his off days. He'll be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Okay.
Then he'll go to work Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's off 5, works 5, then he's off 2, then he works 2, then he's off 5 again.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So you can calculate that pretty easily.
Oh yeah, it's every other weekend. It's just like a divorce.
Yeah.
And me going and picking up my child.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But he's got a driver's license. I don't know how, but he's got one.
He's got one.
He got it at Walmart. All right, so that's enough all that bullshit. Let's get down to the brass tacks of this. What? Tell everybody out there who you are, what you do. We didn't got that a little bit done, but tell us what you really do, what your love and your passion is as far as hunting, what kind of hunting, just life in general in the outdoors, and what brought you into doing the podcast, and how's your podcast and how's all that going?
Gotcha. All right. Well, like I said, I'm Brandon McDow. I grew up in South Texas. I tell everybody it's one of the coolest places to grow up. I was 45 minutes from saltwater, and then like right on the edge of the South Texas brush country. When you get into the big deer and all that kind of stuff you chase, and it's real good. Real small town, Goliad. It's pretty famous in Texas history, and I take a lot of pride in that for sure, and being from there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's a real cool place to grow up. I mean, we're in ranching country. It's cowboys and just everything that you would think of.
It's beautiful
from Texas. Big deer, big hogs, all that kind of stuff. Went to high school there, graduated, but while I was there, I was in FFA, 4-H, all that stuff. Growing up, wanted to have a little extra money on the weekend, so I had my first job when I was in 6th grade, building fence. So all that building fence, working cows, all that is what I grew up doing. My grandpa, which my family's been in Goliad for about five generations.
Wow.
So they've been there for a while. My grandpa had cows. He ranched a little bit, looked after other people's cows, but he's also a contractor. So he built houses in Goliad. There's still some of them standing there today. He built the house that I grew up in, actually, too. So,
Really?
yes, sir. So it's pretty
What was his
funny.
name?
David Lee McDow.
David Lee McDow. That's what I say. Tell everybody, man. That's why I'm proud of my family. Proud of my family
Yeah.
heritage because I've got family in Goliad, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I've got some cousins. I had a great uncle, my uncle Alex Valdez. He lived in Goliad for a while. Then he moved to Round Rock, and then I had some of his be his grandkids, which would be the same age as me.
Yeah.
A bunch of those guys. All of them's last name were Valdez.
Huh.
And they all lived around Goliad.
Yeah, we probably know some of them then for sure.
Yeah,
we're dang near family saying that.
Might as well be close enough.
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. You probably better than some of the other family we know.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a lot of them. Some bitches I ain't going to claim. I can tell you that.
Standard is low.
Most of the ones I claim are brown skin and very quick with a rifle. They can drink beer. They don't put up no bullshit, and they love to laugh and live life. That's the family I like.
Yeah, I hear you. Same here, man.
I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, but like I said, my grandpa, he was a big influence in my life. I mean, I wanted to be just like him. To me, honestly, he was like, because we used to watch old westerns and stuff together all the time. So he was like the Black John Wayne to me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's the kind of way I looked at him.
Oh.
You there?
Yeah, I got you now. I was going to say it just kind of went quiet.
Yeah, but like that's the kind of way that I looked at him, and he passed away when I was still pretty young, but I still got a lot of memories going to feed cows, and he used to pick me up from school and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. But I wish I had him a little bit longer. But you know, I appreciate the time that I did have for sure.
Amen.
But growing up, I used to watch a lot of hunting shows and outdoors, and kind of started with him, I guess. I mean, we used to watch the PBR when it was on TNN, so then we watched the hunting shows after that, and then I kept watching those hunting shows and stuff after he passed away, and then I always used to tell my family, like, that's what I want to go do. Like, we'd be watching, you know, Jim Shockey or somebody on some hunt in Alaska or Canada or something like that, and I'll be like, that's what I'm going to go do. Like, I'm going to go see those places. I make fun of my aunts and my mom now because like I get to go do that stuff, and you know, it's funny because I said it when I was a kid, and like they didn't believe me and laughed it off and like that kind of stuff. Not in a bad way or nothing, but like, you know, just like you really think you're gonna go do this, you know. But I haven't made it quite to Alaska and Canada yet, but it's in the works. It's in the plans.
There you go.
Sweet.
Yeah. So junior high, I played a lot of sports. Of course, being in a small town in Texas, you had to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my family's been there for a while. My uncles and my dad and my mom both graduated from Goliad, so I have that kind of history with all my aunts and uncles. My dad was one of 9, and my mom's one of 6, so I had a whole lot of cousins and stuff. So it was pretty cool growing up there and like get to see like your family's name and stuff and in the hallways and stuff because they graduated from there. And then, like I said, it was in FFA, 4-H. I shot sporting clays pretty intensively for a little while there, from 8th grade through high school. So I shot through 4-H, and we travel all across Texas, you know, shooting sporting clays, trap and skeet, and I was pretty good at it. Got to go shoot a lot of cool places. But between that and sports, when I was in high school, I hunted a little bit with my friends, you know, because most of them, they always had like family members that had dogs or like family members with leases and stuff. But like, I didn't get to hunt that much. I got to go with them a lot, of course. And then like working cows and everything, we got to see a lot of big deer and big hogs. And down there, of course, you know, it's thick brush country. So everybody had cow dogs. And down there, they tended to be a little trashy when some hogs busted out. So it was nice to have a little break, you know, go chase after some hogs and get them and stuff, and then go back to work. But grew up down there, like I said, working and worked on a horse ranch and did all that kind of stuff. And that's where I kind of got into the rodeo, of course. grew up around that along with the hunting. It's kind of just a mixture down there. Everybody kind of rodeos and everybody hunts at least something. And had a lot of friends at high school rodeoed. I was real big into football. I wish I kind of would have went and gone back and kind of went a different route, you know. But I was real big into football. I thought I was going to go play linebacker for the University of Texas Longhorns. But sadly, that didn't work out. But I'm right where I need to be, I guess.
Yeah, yep. He's got a plan for all of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So graduated high school, went to Texas A&M Kingsville for a year. Didn't really go to school that much. The fishing was way too good because, like I said, we grew up close to salt water, so that was always something that we like to go chase redfish in the marsh and trout and all that kind of stuff. So it was real easy to walk out of your dorm room in Kingsville and have a couple other guys walking out with some fishing poles. And they'd be like, "Are you going to make the choice? Are you going to go to class? Or are you going to come catch these redfish with us?" And most of the time, it was going to catch redfish.
Yeah, I could see where that could be a problem.
Yes, sir. My roommate, which is one of my best friends, his parents had a place in Rockport there that they let us to go. Like, we knew where the key was. We can just go stay there for the weekend and just go fish. And it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of memories down there. We caught a lot of fish for sure.
What, ain't that where we went around Rockport, Nate?
I think so.
Is that close to Port A?
Yes, sir. Right there next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, most people, if they go to the beach down here, that's probably the spot to go.
That's what we did. We went to the beach in Rockport. We went across to Aransas Pass.
Yep.
My ex-brother-in-law lives down there, and we're still good friends and stuff. Like you said, brush country, big deer, salt water. He's got a farm a ranch right there in Taft. I believe it was Taft.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're deer hunting right there in Taft, and then you drive, 15 minutes, and you're right there on the ocean.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, there's no way I could ever get anything done down here. We stopped in a ditch and caught blue crab, and there's alligators, and
yes, sir.
There's javelina, and there's wild hogs, and there's freaking deer everywhere, coyotes. It was a really good time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We drank a lot of beer.
It's easy to do down there. Like I said, I mean, it's such a cool place because you have so much like diversity and everything else, and like it's just crazy how quickly it changes, and then just goes back to something else. Like you said, you could be in saltwater marshes for miles, and then you're hitting prairie, and you're like, wait, did I move somewhere else? Yeah. It's a pretty cool place, but like I said, we got to go fish down there a lot. Then like I said, spent a year in Kingsville, and wound up moving to College Station after that, and going to Blinn. There, going to school, working, and I worked at Academy, had all kinds of jobs. I day worked cows for a little bit. Worked at Fastenal, the industrial supply place, just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, you know, because they tell you that go to school, you get a good job, blah, blah, blah. I know life's good. Well, it's like, well, I really don't know what I want to do yet. Like, all these things look cool, but I'm still like trying stuff out. So like I said, I graduated high school in 2010, but I didn't wind up graduating college till 2017. But, you know, on and off, going to school, that kind of deal. Well, in 2014, I met my wife. And we started dating. And she was not that we came from different spots, but like I said, I was trying to figure out what I was doing, and you know, she was already a sophomore when she started college, like that. Like, she graduated college in 3 years. You know, she's real smart, all that kind of stuff. So we started dating, and she graduated from Texas A&M in College Station. So I'm married to an Aggie, but I grew up a Longhorn. I still cheer for the Aggies. I cheer for all Texas teams, so I'm pretty even across the board. But I will say I was a little bit happier that the Longhorns won this past year, coming back to that rivalry game. Just throwing that out there. But no, met her and we started dating, and she kind of really got me, like as most women do, I guess, if you got a good one. kind of helps you figure things out and stuff. And I got back in school. I wound up graduating from Sam Houston State in Huntsville with a degree in ag engineering and technology, and then I got a minor in marketing.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, like I say, I had when I graduated, I had 2 job offers. I was either going to go work for Caterpillar in Houston, or I went and worked for a civil engineering firm in Houston. And the civil engineering firm got off at 12:30 on Friday, so that's where I went to work.
Yeah. There you go.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still trying to figure stuff out. When I was there at Sam, in my degree, you had to write a paper on like emerging technology in agriculture, and I wrote it on drones and their application for ag. You know, big spray rigs. You know, checking for different diseases and stuff on plants. Like there's a whole bunch of uses that you can do. So I wound up writing a paper to graduate. That was one of the last things I had to do. And by the time I got done, I was like, man, I kind of like this drone thing. Let me see what it takes to like get your license. So I wound up getting my license to fly drones commercially. I had some friends that did real estate, so I started flying for them, different properties and stuff. So I've got to see a lot of big ranches here in Texas. That's another way to get, you know, inside the fence. You know, might not get to hunt them, but I at least get to look at them. Around that same time, my wife, she had grew up taking pictures, you know, doing photography and stuff with her aunt. She was kind of trying to figure out something else on the side she could do. And I told her, you know, we lived at a place in College Station where there's a lot of guys that team roped, and they worked with one of the guys I worked with, Bryce. He roped there a lot, and it was a barn, and it had duplexes around it. So it was a big horseshoe. If you look at it like from above, it had an arena on the back end with about 24 stall barn, and it was a lot of the Texas A&M rodeo kids, you know, on the equine team. They'd live in these duplexes, and a lot of our friends did because we were around rodeo and stuff. And it was called Flying Ace Ranch. It's if you meet anybody that was living in College Station, probably from about 2006 to about 2015, and you mention the Flying Ace Ranch and they have anything to do with ag, that they've probably been there, because there was a lot of parties. It was outside of town, so it was away from all the police, in town, which is they're on the move there in College Station. But it was the place to be because it had the arena. I mean, we'd turn the arena lights on and we play football and sand volleyball and like all kinds of stuff and have big parties out there. But they roped out there too, so she started packing her camera out there, taking pictures. And I mean, I had seen some of the pictures she'd taken before, but I'm like, man, these are like pretty good. Like you know what you're doing. You know, not that I thought she was bad before, but like just seeing them.
Yeah,
and I was like,
you didn't realize how good she really was.
Yeah, I didn't realize how good she was, you know. And around the same time, social media started blowing up. Okay, so I had a professor when I was at Sam that was in my marketing degree that was like, hey guys, marketing's changing. This social media stuff's about to be pretty big. And of course, like, he was kind of the guy that got put in the, not necessarily put in a closet, but like, hey, like, yeah, he says all this, but like all this is really like not gonna happen. Like, you know, he really saw it before it happened. So my wife wanted to start, you know, taking pictures at other places, and people were asking her to come to these different ropings and around there, because there's a lot, team ropings and calf ropings and everything. And they're like, hey, would you like to come out and, you know, take pictures and take photos, and, you know, you could sell them to the people that are here if they want them. And she started doing that, started catching traction. I was like, hey, we need to make you like an Instagram. We're going to make a page. We're going to do all this like off the rip. We're going to do it. So started making her page, started posting, listening, kind of talking to that professor and like kind of seeing stuff and like hashtags and like, you know, a lot of the rodeo content wasn't really big on social media yet. So we like pretty quick, we had a lot of people like see her photos and stuff. And then she got to go to the big rodeo they have at Cowboy Stadium, and take photos. She's taking photos at Houston Rodeo, like a lot of the PBRs and stuff. And it was like going good. I'm like, this is pretty cool. So people started asking like, hey, when are y'all going to start doing video? And like, this is about the same time kind of going back to when I'm getting my drone license and everything. And when are you going to start doing video? And I'm like, well, we hadn't really planned on it, but we could try. And like, well, what do we need to do? Well, Megan's camera wasn't really, it was good for photos, but it wasn't really what we needed for video. So I was like, well, I can't afford one of these brand new cameras right now, but what can I do? So right then, the new iPhone, I don't know if it was like the 12 or 13 or something, but like right when they had the big jump on the camera, like how when the camera really got way better. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, shoot, I got to upgrade right now. I can get this new iPhone and, get me a gimbal. We'll start there. So that's what I did. I upgraded my phone on my plan, bought a gimbal, and started going to calf ropings and stuff. The same ones that she was going and taking photos and just kind of shooting video. Not really telling people what I was doing, but just kind of trying it out to see what I could do. Because of course, it's real easy to record stuff, but then like when I put it in this computer, can I edit? Like, do I know how? Like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, So started messing with it, and I made a video. It actually posted the first video I ever made with that phone. Actually posted. It came up in my memories on Facebook. Like, it was either beginning of this week or last week, and it was at a Ricky Kent roping in Navasota, Texas, calf roping. He had, double aught, triple aught, the open roping, girls break away. Like, we just filmed it, and it was just like a promo video, and it was pretty fun. And then, of course, when Megan was going to take photos at the PBR events and stuff like that, like I got to tag along and start messing with it with my camera and with my phone and started making those videos and kind of just took off from there. And then as you make a little money, you buy a different camera and upgrade and do different things. And we've had a lot of opportunities in the rodeo space. And then COVID 2020 happened. And a lot of those rodeos got shut down. And then I had a lot of buddies that were like, hey, man, I'm off work. You want to go hunting? And I'm like, sure, let's go. And picked up, brought the camera with us and started filming that. And then had some opportunities just through friends and people we met and knew to pick up some clients and film for some pretty cool people. Been all around Texas filming on, low fringe ranches, high fringe ranches. I've filmed 300-inch white-tailed deer. And of course they're in, deer pens and deer breeders and stuff, but got to see a lot of that. Got to see some big hogs, like all kind of exotics. Of course we have here in Texas, and everything else. So it's kind of a sped up story of how we got here today. But I mean, any of that in between, if you got any questions, I'll answer them.
Yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I think like you did what you had to do, or did what you could do, like with the phone, with the iPhone deal. There's so many people that would have got frustrated, being like, "Well, I'm just not going to do it because I can't afford to do all this stuff."
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, the frustration was definitely there.
Oh yeah, like, hey, we understand. I promise. And that's the thing. There's a lot of people that they just don't understand that part. Mm-mm. They don't understand the humble beginnings.
Yeah.
I was talking to Nate earlier about a guy I know. He's really grown huge on social media lately. David Ellis, y'all.
Yep.
But dude, he's been doing this for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like he's been doing the turkey hunting and filming and different things like that for years and years and years and years.
He was really ahead of his time, honestly.
Oh yeah, he was way ahead of his time. But now it's
he's
like
always
really
been funny.
He's really blown up, and it's to me, it's like that's very well deserved.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a couple guys, and they're like, "Well, man, it just happened in like a year." I was like, "No, it's all the years before."
No, it's now all the years before that.
He used to just be turkey guy, and some of them turkey videos were so daggum funny.
Remember the first time you met him? He was up at the Trappers Convention. He come across the stadium just gobbling loud as he could. I said, "There's old y'all," and he just hammered, and it wasn't nobody but just 4 of us. Yeah. He left everybody that was over there and came over there and talked to us.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And now, thanks to the sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers. Animal Housing Solutions.
Boars N Broads.
Crockett Taxidermy.
Hardcore Hog Dogs.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Ada Y Transport.
4L Kennels.
The American Doghorn Museum.
Unique Hounding Hunting Supply.
Hogbaying.com.
Tuskers Magazine.
Mud Creek Hog Dog Trials.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually listened to a podcast. He told a turkey story on a Bear Grease podcast. I was listening to it earlier today, and he was on there. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, his podcast, he started one, this past year? Yeah, it's been doing extremely well.
Oh, yeah. He
immediately good, which, I mean, he already had the clout, and he already had he deserves it. He deserves it.
Because at one time, we were going to do one with you while you were still in school at Mississippi State, and we just never could line it all up.
Our schedules just were always conflicting.
We were going to do it at one of the outdoor stores over there, because he doesn't live too far from where Nathan went to school at Mississippi State in Starkville.
Yeah.
And at that time, he was like, man, I've been thinking about doing one. Because I love to talk.
It was funny because he was actually busy trapping one of my buddies in class, his hunting lease.
Yeah.
There outside of Starkville. He's like, yeah, y'all. I was like, well, that's why I can't get him on the damn podcast, because he's over here busy killing all your pigs.
Yeah.
I was like, you should have let me come over and kill him, Doug. And Doug's like, oh. he was like, it ain't up to us. This is club president. And I was like, well,
yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? We just go kill pigs everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's one place I want to really go kill pigs. And that's Texas.
I don't even like.
Yeah.
Like I want to go run some dogs in Texas.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the places I've never really run dogs.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure y'all got an invitation from Josh and Trey and them.
Oh
yes.
Look, those dudes right there. That's my guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trey is.
Oh yeah.
Trey's the funniest.
Josh
guy
seems
ever.
like he's the one that's going to be like, okay, guys. Josh is the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trey's like,
But I wouldn't say that it's a good voice of reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the voice of reason, but it's like, I don't know, I'm a lot older than y'all, so it's like, I already know where this is going. I'm not going to listen to you. But everybody else is like, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, those some good dudes.
We got to hang out with them at Cody Godwin's.
Yeah.
Man, we tried to make the full trip, which was started in South Carolina.
Something. Yeah, I think it started
in South Carolina, went to Georgia, 2 to 3 different spots in Georgia, and then it was all over. It was wild, but we did get to hang out. I think we that one night, and then we hunted one night. Got there one day and we hunted that night, and then the next day they wound up having to leave. And They had a good time.
I grew up with them. Well, Josh went to school in Yorktown, which is about 20-25 minutes away from Goliad. And then Trey went to school in Goliad. I grew up with him. His older sister and I are the same age. So Trey's a few years younger than me. And then Josh is 1 year younger than me. But we knew each other since we were real little. We used to go to Yorktown and do track meets and all that kind of stuff. And we had a lot of friends back and forth. But Trey and them boys have been hunting since we were that age for sure. And then Trey's family, he's got his Uncle Robbie, and then he's got some cousins and stuff that, like, when you talk about guys that had, hog dogs down there, those were the guys you went and got dogs from if you wanted them. And usually when they were running all them tournaments and stuff down there, like, they were usually the ones that were winning them for sure.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Trey's been ate up with that hog hunting stuff since he was real little.
And and like I said, they're good guys, and they're funny as hell. Trey. You're gonna have a good time. Yes. If you don't, then that's on you. That's your fault.
For sure.
I didn't know that y'all grew up together and stuff. That's something new every day.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
We've tried to put it together to get them on, and on the podcast as well. But like what was it back in summer? All the kids were playing ball, and everything running ragged, and it's one of those deals. It's really hard to line up several people at one time.
Yes.
Like we could probably do one with Trey or just with Josh or whatever. But we want to do the whole group.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to line all of it up. We're still going to do it sometime or the other. I don't know when, but we're going to do it.
Oh yeah. For sure. Like I had
fun.
him on, I did an episode with him like right when I first started.
Yeah.
And then I had Josh and Trey on there. And then they were like, well, we're going to have to do another one when we can get Jonathan. We're going to have to do another one when we can get Red on here. And I'm like, yep. And then, of course, like I haven't gotten to do another one with him yet since. Just like I said, everybody's been busy and, just life in general. Like it's like you said earlier, it's funny when people like talk about like having a podcast and everything. But it when you're trying to coordinate and schedule people and trying to fit everybody's different schedule into yours together, because like you said, everybody's busy. It's a tough job for sure.
Now I know why a lot of them only do, one episode a month or every few weeks. And that's what we used to do. Like we just did stuff ourselves.
Yep.
And it was very limited stuff. It was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're not getting out of hand with it. And it got to where we would start getting messages and calls and stuff. They were like, hey, when y'all gonna put some more? I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Then it got to where we, started inviting a few people on, and it just kind of started getting a little more hectic. And then then it really got hectic. And then the past, what was it, last year when we started, I don't know what time of the year it was when we started putting out several episodes.
Spring, I think. Yeah. Maybe April.
And then it got to where like we were pumping out
March.
3 a week all year.
We had to try we had to find our flow. We had to see what the camel could tote.
Yeah, that's right. And we've been pretty steady with 2.
Yeah. Two is very feasible. 3 is feasible as far as like workload, but just the scheduling is a nightmare. It seems like two's pretty easy, but then like three was just like it might work great for 2 or 3 weeks, and then the next 2 or 3 weeks it might
you're gonna have
oh god
fall off a little bit.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Which we get it. Like most of the people that we talk to, that's not what we're interviewing them about is not their full-time job or their full-time priorities. So it's kind of like to the side, and I get it. And it's just so much stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it happens for us too, because sometimes we have to cancel. We'll be like, hey, we can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But the thing about it is we try to, I don't know. You just try to make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't.
No,
you just can't. So the thing to do is, do what works and make yourself happy too. And then it'll go a lot better. But man, it's a nightmare on a lot of the scheduling.
Yeah. Like for me, I was doing, when I first started it, like I was really good on the front end and being able to like line people up to where I had like a few episodes to start. Well, then it got to where I was like trying to schedule, like you said, and like trying to pay attention more to that kind of stuff. And for me, I love doing the podcast. It's been a whole lot of fun. But my thing is still the photography and the videography part. Yeah. And it was kind of getting to where I was like, yeah, like I said, like doing the podcast, and I want to grow it and do more stuff, but I don't want to get away from, what I really like doing.
That's right.
That's filming and editing and stuff like that. So
something will suffer. If you put up that much. And that's really what happened in our side too. It's like we had so many irons in the fire. It was literally nonstop, just continual work. And it's a lot. So that's one reason, like we had the physical store where, did dog supplies and stuff. We finally just closed it down. It's like, we can't be there 6 to 8 hours a day and do another job and do all our dogs, do content, then do podcast. Like we can't do all that. There's not enough time, like period. Yeah. It's like you just run yourself ragged. And then it gets to where it's not fun. And that was the whole point to begin with.
Exactly. When it starts not being fun anymore and like you're dreading doing stuff, that's when you kind of got to be like, okay, let me reevaluate some things and move some stuff around, because it's supposed to be fun in general, because this is the stuff we like doing. We just get to share it with other people, you know?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So as far as like on the hunting side of stuff, do you have dogs? Do you run any dogs of any kind?
No, not really. So right when we moved to that place, that Flying Ace Ranch, right before that, we were getting ready to move out there, and I've always liked dogs. I've always liked dog hunting. Period. Like I really don't know why. I guess it's probably where I grew up. Like all the guys you kind of looked up to in town, either had like good hog dogs or good cow dogs, or it was a good thing or an honorable thing to be like, hey man, he's got some good dogs, And of course, it's like growing up watching Old Yeller and where the red fern grows. It's like you're supposed to have a hunting dog like that. That's just what you're supposed to have. So first dog I ever had that I kind of trained myself, I had a lab named Katie that I got from one of my best friends. And if you wouldn't have known it, she's probably the best duck dog in the world that never went and got a duck. Because I didn't duck hunt, but I knew that's what I was. Sixth grade, but I knew that's what labs were supposed to do. And my buddy had some pretty good labs, and they were, it was one of the last puppies they had from their litter, and he gave it to me because he's a good friend, and he knew I wanted a dog because I used to play with his dogs all the time when I go over to his house. And as a kid, I train her to retrieve stuff. Start with a tennis ball. She was pretty good. And then, get her like one of them little duck bumpers from Academy. And I used to throw that in the yard all the time with her when I was a kid. But she wound up dying pretty early. She never really went to, like I said, I didn't duck hunt. I didn't know anybody that duck hunted. It's just, you had a lab. And then I was a little bit older. I was in junior high. Always grew up around, blackmouth curs and stuff. But every once in a while, somebody would have a Catahoula, like a good one. And I seen a buddy of mine's friend came and visited, and he had a Catahoula, and his name was Stetson. And he comes up in this story a little bit later too. But he was like the first real good Catahoula, big blockhead. He was like white leopard, like real good looking dog, and it was his cow dog. And I fell in love with that dog, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna have me a Catahoula. So, like I said, flash forward, get to 2013, we're moving to this place, and I was like, man, I want to give me a dog since we're moving out here. We got a little space. I want to find me a good dog. So I, of course, went on Facebook and started looking for Catahoulas. Found this guy that was from Refugio, which is back where I'm from, and I asked around. I was like, hey, man, he's got some pretty good dogs. And he's like, yeah. I got two females left out of a litter. He ran bay pen dogs. He had a female that ran bay pen, and then he hog hunted some too. And he's like, I had two females left. If you want to get them, he goes, I'll meet you in Hallettsville, which is about halfway between College Station and Goliad and or Refugio. And he said, you check them out. So me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, he's like, they're 150 a piece. And I think I had like 125, like not the whole 150.
Yeah.
So we drive down there and meet him at the parking lot in a Walmart in Hallettsville, and I pass it all the time, which is pretty cool. But he had these two females, and he brought them out. One was kind of like darker gray color, almost black, and then he had a red one. Well, the red one was just growling. She was feisty, like she didn't want to come out of the crate when he was trying to get her and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I want that one.
There you go.
I want that one right there. So picked her up. If you pay attention to rodeo, there, of course, Trevor Brazil, which is the king of the cowboys. He has a wife named Shada, not Shadow, not a country man saying shadow, Shada, Shada. So that's what I named her. And I'm a little sad because she's probably the best dog I'll ever have. Yeah. Honestly, for me, right? Might not be for anybody else, but for me.
But that's the only thing that matters.
Amen.
Yes, sir. And but I've had her since then, and she's been like my dog for sure. Well, flash forward, my buddy's friend that had that Stetson dog, right, moves in to the Flying Ace on the other side. And Stetson's still running around. And I was like, man, if I get this female going, I can get me some dang puppies from the first Catahoula, that I thought was something, right? Well, she's about 9 months old, and I think she's coming into heat for the first time. And I said, well, let me just put her in the back. We're going to go to Harry's, which is Hurricane Harry's, which is a bar, College Station, dance hall. So we're going to go to Harry's, and we're going to have us a good time, and she'll be fine back there. She's just a puppy. She ain't coming in the heat. Ain't no way. We come back, Stetson is in my backyard. He's jumped the fence, and they're not tied up, but he got her. And she had 8 puppies. One of them passed away, so we had 7. I sold a few of them because I wasn't really like trying to, sell dogs or nothing, but like I sold a few of them. Then a couple buddies traded me for some stuff and got some puppies and got a couple puppies off of me, but I kept one, and he's black, like black leopard pretty much. He's got tan on his feet, and he's got one glass eye.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at him, he looks probably like one of the meanest dogs on the yard if he's standing there, but he's like the biggest softy and roll all in your lap and everything and talk to you and all that kind of stuff. But when I had both of them going, of course, when I started the female Shatta, I had buddies that had, steers up there that they roped. So I started her. She'd go to band the steers and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of knew that she was going to be like a good dog for me because Megan and I were traveling somewhere. This was before she had the puppies. We had her in the back seat of the truck, and she was whining. Like, we're going down the highway, 70 miles an hour. She's whining, looking out the window. And I'm like, what in the world is she whining about? Like, there's nothing there. And I look out, and we're passing a field full of cows, and she's whining, looking at the cows. And then as soon as the cows stop, she just sit there. And then we get to another patch. Of course, you're going to pass some cows in Texas, and she'd be looking out the window just whining and stuff. So I got to work her on steers and stuff like that, and kind of, base some cows and all that, and got to work with her. And Case, that's her son that I have. And that's what I started them on. And that was it. Like, I didn't hunt them. I didn't have really any opportunities to hunt them then. Like, when I went home to hunt my buddies and stuff, we just like went with their dogs because like I didn't know what my dogs would do. Like, I just didn't, throw them in there and that kind of deal. Well, we started hunting a little more, Megan and I, with her parents and stuff. And then I started taking them with me then. And like, we'd be riding on the Ranger, and I'd kick them out, and they'd go and, kick up a raccoon. Oh, well, shoot. Okay. Well, then there's that raccoon. That one's gone. And then, kick them out of the feeder or something. We'd find some pigs. So I shot a few pigs over them. They've tracked a few deer that we've shot. Nothing. I mean, they've all been dead deer, but like, it wasn't any hard tracks, and they didn't have to bay nothing or anything, but they found them all. And they do little stuff for me. Like I said, they do what I need them to do for the most part. So I like them. They've been real good dogs, but I took them to the bay pin deal that started popping up in Nixon again. I was seeing it on the page, and I was like, man, they've bayed a few hogs, and I've shot them over them, but I'm going to take them to this bay pin and see what they do, just trying it out. I didn't have anything to do that weekend. So we drove down to Nixon, went to El Perro Loco, and I took them and I entered them. Dancing Dog Ranch, he does some apparel and stuff. Lefty, he was there, and I was talking to him, and, we just went to check it out. I entered them. They bayed pretty good. They bayed a 8-7 for the first time ever being in a bay pen, Oh, yeah. So I was pretty happy. The best thing that I liked about it was like when they got done, because like I like putting a pretty good handle on them, especially when we were like working cows and stuff like that. So I can call them off pretty much anything, and I can put them on pretty much anything. So like if I sick them, like they're gonna go get it, whatever it is. And if I can tell them get out, come here, they'll come back. So I got to call them off the pig, and say, come here. And they came back to me. So that was pretty cool. And then, so like I said, I don't have any hog dogs. I don't have any blood tracking dogs, but I love dogs, and I like what I do with mine. And anybody else that's got some good hog dogs and stuff, like we share it all the time on the page. It's something I like and I enjoy. I think every little boy and girl too should grow up with a hunting dog. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all. I think it's pretty cool that you made the trip down there and checked it out and entered your dogs, and they did good.
Yeah,
that's what it takes to keep the sport alive too. We've been to Nixon before. It's just a long trip for us.
Oh yeah,
it's a long ride. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying that I won't do it again by any means. It's just a long ride, and we can't do so many.
Yeah, and it's a long ride, and it's in no offense to anybody if you're from Nixon, Texas, but it's not a big city. You ain't got that many places to stay. You don't have that many places to eat. It's an oil field town. That's what it is. Oil field and ranching town.
Yeah, I think we stayed 20 minutes from there, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. We found a little spot up the interstate, and it's a nice little spot. It was like a little camp, little small cabins right off the interstate. Like I said, it was a nice little deal.
Yeah,
but like you said, though, there's really not a whole lot there.
No,
it's in the middle of nowhere. But they definitely were nice to us. They made us feel at home. We had a good time, and the weather just changed so dramatically when we were there.
Yeah.
It was so hot, and then it was. I don't know what happened. Like the wind started blowing, and it became wintertime. I'm talking about.
I believe it.
We had some of our dance jackets, our briarproof clothes and stuff.
Yeah,
that we sell, and I wasn't even going to bring them, and they were in a tote. That we just had a few hoodies, and we sold all them. Like they were all because nobody was prepared for it. It just popped up, and I was like, Kyle West and them, they were laughing. They're from there. They're like, looks like shit. This is all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you don't like the weather in Texas, wait about 30 minutes. It might change. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I really do.
Yeah.
It was something. But like I said, it was I like South Texas. The places that I've been, I really do.
Oh yeah. Most people do. If you're not from there and you go visit, you get to go to the good parts, which is mostly all of it.
Yep.
You're gonna fall in love with it. It's like I said, it's a beautiful place. It's a thorny place. It's a place that you can get hurt real bad, real easily. Everything sticks and pokes you, as everybody says, and big rattlesnakes and everything else.
Yeah, it definitely, every piece of grass has a sticker on it. It doesn't matter what kind of freaking grass. Dude was walking across the damn cow pasture, and this cow was out there eating damn barbed wire. I thought that's what it was. I guess it was grass. I don't know what the fuck it was. It kept stabbing me, though. And I was like, what in the hell? We shot a coon or something. Mm-hmm. And some bitch went under this little tree, a mesquite tree. That's what I thought it was. But it was some kind of black brush. And I didn't know that it had some kind of Zimbabwe fucking 4-inch damn spears on it, bud. I mean, these things, I could see where the coon was in the bottom of that tree, but I could not get to it.
You couldn't get to him.
Dude, I was like,
he knew it too.
And CJ, he kept saying, he was like, look, if tell the boys when they shoot one, shoot it, break both shoulders or shoot it in the neck. We do not want to track it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's like, we do not want to track it. And I was like, I could, we don't want to track it. I can promise you that.
You shoot a deer down there, you're going to find it in a cactus flat for sure. Every single time, that's where they're going to go. No matter if it's 10 yards or they run 40 or 100 yards, that's where they're landing.
Yep. Well, all those we got. I guess everybody got pretty lucky, and all the boys put the old snipers on them. I don't think none of them ever took a step, but which was a good thing,
Yep.
I don't know how many they wound up taking out, but we did some doe patrol for them down there, and then a little bit of herd management.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And some of their deer, they're
all
calling
about that.
some of their cull deer are trophies here, you know. I was like, are you going to cull that? He's like, yeah, shoot that. It's a piece of shit. Shoot it.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. Old Brad was just tripping. Like, I didn't know what to think. I was like, this is crazy. And then
Yep.
I was like, this is the greatest place in the world.
Mm-hmm. When we get to film on some of these ranches, because a lot of the stuff we do, we're making content for them to use when they go to trade shows and different booths and for their marketing materials. And it's like you get to go and sit at these places, and of course some of them are high fence, some of them are low fence. You know, people have their qualms, I guess you'd say, or
Yeah.
I don't like shooting high fence, and high fence is a bucket hunt, you know, shooting fish in a barrel, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I've been on 1,000-acre high fence places, and I've been on like 10,000-acre high fence places, and I've been on 300-acre high fence places. And, you know, there are places out there where, you know, it's a 100-acre trap. And, you know, there's bucks that they bought at the beginning of the season, and they put them in that trap, and the guy comes from Houston or Dallas or wherever and comes in for the weekend and to shoot him a big deer. And that's what he does. He didn't take care of that deer. He didn't put in a food plot. Hell, he didn't even fill a feeder or do anything else. But the way I see it is that man bought a hunting license. He paid, you know, I'm sure he bought all the newest Sitka and QU, even though he's about to go sit in a box blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
He bought the best, a Gunworks $8,000 rifle with the ammo and the dope chart and everything else with it.
Right
and,
on.
and he's going to shoot this deer, and he's going to take it back home, and he's going to be the big, great hunter. Well, that's good for him. All that money he just spent went into conservation. If the Pittman Robertson Act, like all the tax dollars and stuff from that goes back into the county and the state, whatever he hunted in, and it goes back to the animals. So to me, it is what it is. Am I going to go do that? No, that doesn't get me excited. But the same thing that gets me excited if I go hunt a deer or we go catch some hogs or something is the same exact feeling that guy gets when he did what he did. So who am I to judge him on that?
Oh, that's a great outlook to have, because there's so many people. The first thing they say is like, "Well, I don't do that," or "You shouldn't do that." Well, dude, like you don't know. I mean, he's the guy that's sitting in the box blind doing that is having the time of his life.
Yeah.
He probably thinks that guys like me out here running around chasing a hog to catch it with my hands or running after dogs and stuff like that, he's probably thinking, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, all you have to do is sit in this box blind and put some corn on the ground and they'll come out. And he's right. Like that's it. But that's not what tickles my fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Like, to each his own, but putting that money out there or putting it in the pot, that's what keeps us able to do all of it.
Yeah.
If you don't have those big spenders, I mean, hunting's over with.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And even beyond that, when he goes to vote or whoever else, you know, it's like when he goes to vote, well, he's either going to think about him not hunting or him shooting that, you know, big freak deer in a high fence. Well, if he thinks that he can't go do that again, he's going to vote, you know, on our side.
That's right.
To keep hunting still going. So like I said, I see the benefit of it, but I also know if you step in 1,000-acre high fence or anything like that, or shoot even a 500-acre, 600-acre high fence, and you're going in there to kill one deer, that specific one.
Yeah, it's not that.
You're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
I used to have this little thing we done every year. There's a little, was it 400, right at say 500-acre high fence, and it's just for hogs. And I'd do it every year. I'd be like, okay, we're going to take a group of guys over there, and it was whoever was talking shit at the time. how good their dogs were and all that. And I was like, well, we're going to go catch them in a fence. It's in a pen. And they're like, oh, this ain't going to be shit. And after about the first 4 or 5 hours, they're like, well, I thought there were hogs in here. I was like, oh, bud, there's 500-600 hogs in here easy.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm like, why are we not finding them? You know, and they can't figure it out. And then by the next day, when they haven't caught anything, they finally get something up and they run it and run it and run it and run it and run it. They are so humble. And I'm like, you know, it's not as easy as you think it is. If you have a 10,000 acre high fence, like we had a guy, we did a tournament, and they were like, well, what about high fences? I said, look, if it's 5,000 acres or more, I don't even consider it that, because you got to hunt.
Yeah.
And I had one guy, he was like, well, that wouldn't be fair. He said, I've only got 2,000 acres. I was like, well, how many hogs are you catching? He was like, well, I don't. You know, it's not easy to catch them like that. Exactly. And you're only on 2,000. He's got twice as much he's got to cover.
Yep.
So, I mean, those hogs are at home. They know where they're at. It's any game. Doesn't matter if it's hogs or deer or what. I agree with that, though. It's a lot. It's not as easy as people make it out to be.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, like we have all the exotics and stuff too. So that's another reason why, you know, high fences are so abundant here. Like, I mean, they're everywhere. They're only growth popping up even more. I mean, here, of course, they're considered livestock. So a lot of people now are like buying these ranches. You know, we got all these people from California, you know, moving to Texas, and I hope them people are all right and everything with them fires, but I'm sure a lot of them are going to be coming this way too. Like they're coming in and they're like, well, shoot, I don't want to really buy cows. Like, cows aren't pretty.
Yeah.
Well, if I buy this black buck, or I get these sable or any of these axis deer, like it's the same thing. So they still get the same tax credits and stuff, but they get something prettier to look at. So that's another reason why a lot of people are getting high fences and stuff, especially like smaller, like 15, 20 acre places. Now, most of these people aren't hunting them. They're just putting them out there to get the tax break and have something pretty when their friends come over, because they have a ranch now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would probably, I don't know if I'd do it or not, but you know, if I was in a position to do it, I probably would. I'd be like, I'll do that too. But if we've been to some that were like, we hauled quail to a place in Bernie, Texas. And like there's a lot of land out there at a couple of those spots that we went to. There's really not even that. There's one section of it that's high fence for the exotics, but then the rest of it's low fence. Dude, we drove around that thing for 2 days and didn't see all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I said, to me, this is like, you know, it's almost like just forever, never ending land.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks that way out there.
You gotta hunt. You know, you gotta hunt. Like on the exotic side of it, that's what intrigues me. Like, y'all got all kind of exotics now. Y'all got warthogs.
Yeah, we do. There is a wild population of warthogs, not behind a high fence.
I know.
Down around Uvalde, they'll pop up. You'll see them if you're in any of the the hog hunting groups or anything. Somebody will catch a picture of them on the side of the road or something, and they'll post it on Facebook. But yeah, there's a wild group of warthogs. There's been baboons that have popped up.
What?
Running around. Yeah.
Monkeys. No.
Yeah.
We can handle monkeys out there in the woods.
Time. And then, now we got black bears coming back. We can't hunt them; they're still protected.
Yeah.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, but yeah, it's Texas is a zoo for sure. Like, I mean, everything in Africa that you can hunt is here in Texas. A lot of the places, a lot of the animals that aren't even in Africa anymore are here in Texas. There's even been instances like the scimitar horned oryx. They've actually taken some of the animals in Texas and repopulated areas in Africa where they were extinct now. So, I mean, some people hate on the exotics just like they hate on everything else, but it's been a lot of good that's come from it too. I mean, there's organizations like we have auctions where people, like I said, landowners purchase, exotics, like similar to a cattle auction. Like there's a couple places that have them here in Texas and different companies that work with them. But yeah, anything in Africa, India with black buck, especially the nilgai down, like you said, Kingsville area down south down there. Like nilgai's pretty high on my list. I want to go hunt. I've got to film somebody hunt one before, but I've never got to hunt one myself, but I want to. But everything, and they're all fun to hunt, like every single one of them.
Has anybody, let me ask you this, has anybody caught one of those warthogs with a dog? Come on.
I don't think so. Not that I know of.
I got to bring the heat. God, I got to bring the heat. I got to come down there. We got to go to Uvalde. And look, Randy, you got to take me down there. And look, if it comes down to it, we see him going down the road, you just drop me off. Go down the road. Come back in just a few minutes. We can do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We can do this.
I think there's always just like a few of them, like maybe 3 or 4 people taking pictures, but obviously they got to be breeding. So I'm sure there's going to be a larger population at one point.
Sooner or later, I think it would have to be, because I don't know what their gestation period, their cycles. Nate, check that on the warthogs. See, are they like the regular Scarifa? Can they do it, 3 times a year and have 6,000 babies, or?
Oh man,
are they limited? Tell us, Nate.
Gestation period lasts about 160 to 170 days.
What?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, so they're no longer
3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days like a regular swine.
That's a little over 5 months.
Yeah, I know. Like it's because them big heads.
This got it something.
Yeah, that's like some of my family. Yeah, my nephew, they just had a baby. Congratulations to my nephew. And that's what was wrong with their baby. That child has a abnormally large head. There's nothing wrong with her. She's perfectly fine. There's no scare. It's just hereditary.
Yeah, just in the family.
Yeah, we just call him Head. Oh, Head.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Even on the exotic side too, like here, we used to have elk in Texas, but they shot them all, obviously, like everything else.
Yeah.
But there's been I know they relocated some out in West Texas, like in the Glass Mountains, that way in Fort Stockton, kind of out there. But now, I mean, they've came over, so there's wild herds of elk out there. I mean, from Fort Stockton all the way down to dang near Del Rio, because my wife's my in-laws now, they had a lease out a little north of Del Rio that we used to hunt. And one morning we were going out turkey hunting, my wife and I, and we're riding on the Can-Am, riding out there to go to the spot where I'd roosted these turkeys the day before. And we're driving on the road. It's kind of foggy. It's, just trying to wake up. And I look up and there's cows on this place. So like, it looks like a cow's in the road. So I'm just driving, kind of putting my head down because it's a little cold. And I pick my head back up again and it's still standing there. So get a little closer and it finally picks its head up and it's a cow elk.
Wow. And
I was like, I couldn't even get it out fast enough because my wife, Megan, she was asleep, riding in the Can-Am. And I'm like, and then by then it was gone. But saw free. And that place was a low fence place. So, I mean, like I said, from Fort Stockton down there, dang to Del Rio, you can find some wild elk.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a lot of were elk in every state at one time. They were in a huge majority of
everywhere
them, right?
Except I think Florida, really, as far as like in the southeast.
Do you think they had those little bitty elks?
What do you mean?
I like that.
Like those little key deer?
Yeah.
Like those little whitetail, they got those little
honestly
dwarfs.
I guarantee you the eastern bodied elk were much smaller in comparison to a lot of the western elk, especially probably early 1500s, 1600s, stuff like that.
Yep.
That we could
they,
at least
they shot them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like with the buffaloes.
Well, that and mainly the loss of habitat. They don't have any grasslands to graze here in the southeast. We used to have, historically, Alabama used to have a lot of open grasslands on the plateaus of the mountains, and so we used to have a big buffalo or bison and elk herd migration that would come to the southeast and kind of make a loop and get right there on the edge of the coastal plain and come back up.
Then all them hillbillies seen them.
Yeah.
Boy, I bet they'd be good some gravy and taters.
Yeah. There ain't no more prairie to graze out here.
No,
there's all the prairie.
Which, I mean, like, I don't know. Alabama's got a lot of there's a lot of coal country.
Yeah.
And we deal with a lot of strip pit and reclaimed land. You know, they've come in and stripped it for the coal and a lot of the minerals and stuff. And then they just turn it upside down.
Yeah.
And you can grow, like some planted pines and stuff. That's about it. It's pretty tough, but it's also, it always amazes me at how much game that it can hold. That there's certain times where it's like, man, there's a lot of wild game here for it really not to be a lot of habitat.
Yeah. This is kind of like West Texas.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like when we went down to South Texas, I was still like, what do they eat here? Like around Taft and places like that.
Yeah.
Then I seen all the corn. I was like, oh, okay. But as far as like in the wild though, for real. The habitat is just totally different than where we're at.
They'll eat a lot of the mesquite beans. That's a big thing they eat down there too. If you get like where you have a lot of mesquite trees, they'll eat mesquite beans. You can usually, have some pretty big deer. Like they process that pretty good where they get all the protein out of it. And if you can find some mesquite beans or have them, a lot of them, you're probably gonna have some big deer around. Of course, if the genetics and stuff are there.
I got you.
But in South Texas, they're there.
Yeah, I was going to say the genetics are there. Yeah. I don't think we've seen anything that was like small. And there was so many deer.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. There was a lot of deer.
There's a lot of deer there. Then when you come to the hill country, which is like north of San Antonio, up and out towards, Kerrville, that area, then up towards Land Passes. So I live in Burnett, so a little north of Austin, because that's where our office is in Leander. So I live like right on the edge of the hill country. And
where at? Burnett?
Burnett.
Okay.
So
you know where Bernie is. You know where Bernie's at, though, right?
Yes. Yeah. I know where Bernie is. Yeah.
North of San Antonio?
Yep.
I got you. So
I'm a little north of that. It's spelled Burnett, but if you say Burnett around here, they're going to look at you funny.
Yes, I know. We my brother-in-law actually did that. We were meeting Lance Criswell out there in Burnett.
Yeah.
And Joe Dill was like, "Where's Burnett at?" And that lady in the gas station was like, "Burnett?" And he was like, "Yes, ma'am." Yeah, she corrected real quick. She's like, "Burnett?"
Real quick.
Yeah. It's a little small, like it was a gas station, but it had like a little deli in it, like a little mom and pop kind of deal. They're super nice people, man. They gave us free biscuits. So I wish I could remember the name of the place. I'd give them a plug out there, but it was awesome.
Yeah. So when you get out here, there's a lot of deer. And I mean, up San Antonio too, you see it every now and then. It'll show up and there'll be like a 180-inch buck walking through a neighborhood in San Antonio, like in a suburb. And there'll be hogs because, San Antonio's blown up so big. It's there. All the suburbs are starting to creep out, and the animals are coming in. So they've had hogs on the college campus tearing up the ground, all kinds of stuff there. But yeah, we have a lot of deer in the hill country.
Yeah, that San Antonio it's really grown. Like you said, it's huge. The population is way more than I anticipated. And then from the first time that I went there, it's been years ago until the last time that I went was last year or year before last, maybe. And it was like, it just kept growing. I'm not going to say it doubled in size because it didn't, but there were certain areas that they blew up so much. I was like, God, where are all these people coming from?
We shot nationals for trap and ski when I was in high school at the National Shooting Complex in San Antonio, and it used to be like a little bit outside of San Antonio. There was a few subdivisions around there, but it was mostly like the larger homes and stuff like that, kind of luxury neighborhoods. And now there's like all kinds of suburbs and neighborhoods all around the shooting complex. Like it's like I said, it's blown up, but that's everywhere pretty much in Texas right now.
And so what's the influx of population? Where are all the people coming from?
Mostly California.
A lot of Californians.
A lot of a lot of the tech companies that were out there in Silicon Valley, they're posting up in San Antonio and Austin. Pretty much that whole I-35 corridor from San Antonio up to Dallas Fort Worth area. Well, yeah, from that way, and then it kind of makes a triangle. So from Dallas down to San Antonio, over to Houston, and back up, like that triangle. When I saw an article, it was like the largest growing area in the nation right now, just because like Tesla and Elon Musk moved to Austin, Dell's here, Apple's moving here. There's a bunch of movie companies moving to Austin and building studios and stuff. So it's gonna grow even more.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of the smaller places that you see, like a lot of the dove hunting places, especially here, like they're kind of going away because they're turning into subdivisions, of course. And then like you see these subdivisions and you look up on the power line and they're just covered with dove. And you're like, man, I wish I could just hunt right here. Please.
Yeah.
Just, all I need is a chair and a couple boxes of shells and we're eating dove tonight. But
There you go.
it's a suburb.
It's that's something that's kind of, it saddens me, in a way, because like where we live at, where I have my house, it's 20 years ago, you might see two vehicles all day. And honestly, if you've seen two vehicles, it literally, you were looking, you were like, I wonder what's going on, And
Yeah.
now it's like you don't even know who's coming by. It's just nonstop traffic. There's people in and out, and for a long time, it just felt like the world was closing in on me, and it is, in a way. But I've learned to accept that as well. So for a lot of people, like in my generation and stuff, it's like we just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah.
And so
I hear you. Like I grew up in a small town in Goliad, so like I like going to the city. I like doing stuff in the city. I like going to restaurants and eating good food and doing all that kind of stuff. But man, I'd rather be out in the country. Like I said, when we moved from College Station over here, because we moved here for my job at Silencer Shop, and College Station's, it's growing too, especially Texas A&M and all that kind of stuff. And it was getting a little bit bigger, but it was still pretty small. Like you could still, especially where we live, it was outside of town. It was nice. It was quiet. You might hear some cars go by or 18-wheeler or oil field truck or something, but that's about it. And then I was like moving over here to Austin, and we were looking at places, and I was like, man, like I don't want to live in a suburb. Like if I can't go pee outside.
Oh yeah. We get it. I promise.
That's my barrier. So like that we found this place in Burnett. It's a little bit of a drive for me. Like I drive in an hour to work. As I said, like I get home at a little bit after 7. We're doing the podcast. It's but I'd do that 10 times over rather than like living in a suburb and my neighbor, like every time I walk outside and he or she's like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Like, I like you. I'm sure you're good people, but I need a little space.
Oh yeah.
Stay over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
then with the dogs too, it was like a lot of those places in Austin, they dang near charge another month's rent if you have pets.
yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I don't get that shit. I mean, I can understand, a little bit more, but it's like
dang
that
near another
everywhere.
month's rent.
Yeah, it's like that everywhere, the upcharge of it, but I'm sure the scale is much higher out there. My other son, Luke, he like where he lives at, his rent is X amount of dollars, and I think they wanted like another $600, $800 a month to have a kitten or have a cat.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that is ridiculous. I was like, there's no way. But
yeah, because I wasn't doing that. So like I said, we got lucky and found this place and they let us have pets and all the thing else. So it's on like 5 acres. Yeah. So we got a little room out here. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. 5 acres is enough land you can make your own place there, stake your claim, make your homestead, yep, or whatever you want to call it. I've been living on 5 acres for a long, long time.
Yeah, we got good landlords and stuff, so that makes it even better.
Sweet. So has Texas had any kind of new laws or anything you see? I mean, I know you're one of those guys that's kind of up to date on a lot of things. You were talking about going to the SHOT Show and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been pretty active, just because it was a way. I saw it as a way to get to be around people and be around people that hunt and all that. So I've always been a member. Of course, we have Texas Wildlife Association here and SEI and a lot of these big organizations that advocate for hunting and stuff. So I go to a lot of the shows just as we have them here in Texas and Houston and stuff like that. But I try to keep up with that stuff because it's real ezy for it to get overlooked, and kind of like the deal out in Colorado. I mean, they really try to sneak it in on you, and it's buried underneath, tons of other things to where they're trying to get rid of stuff. Not right now. We kind of had like a little bit of that with there's an organization called Texans for Mountain Lions. They did a film called Deep in the Heart. It was like National Geographic for all of the Texas wildlife. It was narrated by Matthew McConaughey and the Texan of all Texans.
Yeah,
but
all right.
yeah, but it was an awesome film from the aspect of the footage that they got and the different animals and where they got to film them interacting, and it was like out in the wild. But at the end of it, they throw in the little kicker about mountain lions in Texas and how they're going extinct, and we need to cut down laws and all that kind of stuff. And because in Texas, mountain lions, coyotes, raccoons, they're all considered like varmint, obviously, but there's no season. Like if you know somebody with some mountain lion dogs, we can go hunt mountain lions 365 days of the year. We can shoot coyotes 365 days of the year, raccoons, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, which is great. Bobcats, all that, 365 days a year.
Wow.
So they were trying to say that, the populations are dwindling, that, we need to protect the mountain lions in Texas because they're a great thing. Now, don't get me wrong, they are a great thing. I like knowing that we have mountain lions in Texas, but it was just presented in a way that was a little different, just because there's not that much research done on mountain lions. Because as y'all both probably know, the best way to really do research on mountain lions is to put them in a tree with some dogs, put a collar on them, and track them, see what they're doing. Because otherwise, you're not going to see them. You're not going to find them. Yep. Well, there's very little background and stats on how many mountain lions there were in Texas. So they were trying to present the trapping laws, trapping checks were to be cut down. I can't remember on how many days it has to be checked now, but that did get added. But basically, they're kind of gunning for, obviously, the banning of hunting mountain lions. That's their end goal that they would like to do. Now, it's real funny. Well, not funny, but like real interesting when you see the people in these organizations and the kind of where they come from. I don't know if y'all know, but a few years ago there was a video film that came out called Project Coyote, where this guy went with some guys that hunt predator contests, and he spoke to them in the sense that, hey, I want to come film you guys. I think this is cool. It's something I'm interested in. Well, it's kind of in a wolf in a sheep's clothing, and he took the footage and manipulated it, of course, and showed it in a real bad light. Well, one of the people that funded that project are also involved in the Texans for Mountain Lions. So it's kind of a mixture of, when you start pulling the veil back and you see who's behind this stuff, it's not shocking, but like you're like, okay, this is how this kind of works. So
it's a lot,
It is, and like I said, that's why it can be hidden very well, and a lot of people can't. The regular everyday guy can't pay attention to that, go to work, take care of his family, and all that kind of stuff. It takes a little extra work to pay attention to, right?
Yes.
So, which most people don't have the time nor the ability to. So that's kind of one thing that we do, my wife and I, and then the people that like I got buddies that are in West Texas SCI. We're going out to Midland this weekend for their event. But like a lot of these guys that work for SCI and even not even just work, but volunteer for these organizations, like
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do is provide this information so people don't have to hunt for it. I mean, I know you pay a membership and of course it takes money to do all this, but there's a lot of organizations out there that are doing good things for hunting and fishing and just being in the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big proponent of supporting them just because like I said, I know people on these boards and stuff. I've met people, talked with them, and they're just like you and me, even though you see these guys on TV or on social media and they got these suits and ties and, you go to these big galas and stuff at Dallas Safari Club and these people are in furs and these nice dresses, but at the end of the day, they're hunting and fishing just like we are. They're just at the ability where they can, spend a little money and get some tax breaks to buy something at an auction or something like that. But down at the root of it, they're hunters just like we are.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Like you said, at the root of it, they're all hunters like we are. But
yeah,
I don't know how would you recommend the regular everyday guy to try to keep up with some of the changes and the new stuff that pops up.
Luckily there's a lot of people, like of course you have the hunting influencers, which that's a whole podcast in itself, right? But you have a lot of companies I see that are kind of like, especially after the Colorado deal, and seeing that we can get together.
Yep.
And we're not hunting and we're not arguing about high fence versus low fence and dogs versus not dogs and all that kind of stuff, that we can come together and like, hey, we see the people that are trying to get at us and we can do something about it.
Yep.
And a lot of these companies are paying attention paying attention to it and sharing it. And, you have different pages and influencers or content creators that try to talk about it. And it's just pay attention to them. I mean, hear them when they say, hey guys, like there's a meeting coming up, like Cable Smith, he does the Lone Star Outdoor Show. He was one of the first podcasts I started listening to, and he works with SCI and everything. And I mean, it's a part of his show where he talks about a lot of things going on in Texas. He was one of the ones that kind of showed me what was going on with it, kind of behind the scenes. And like you have to pay attention to the companies and the brands that are talking about it. You can join email lists and stuff from Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I'm sure everybody's DNR has one. But honestly, that's just something else that's going to come into your email that you're probably not going to read. And they're going to send you so many emails when the one that you do need to read comes in, you're not going to want to. So it's finding outlets that are covering it, and, even outlets that aren't, maybe, since it is a part of, creating content, creating media, it kind of has a responsibility for us to kind of like push that kind of stuff out. It doesn't have to be every single time, but if a meeting's coming up when you need to vote on something, like talk about it. And maybe you might not get everybody, all your audience to go, but if you get 3 or 4 people to go, that's better than none in my eyes.
Oh yeah, it's way better
for sure.
Because there's so many meetings that, I mean, you don't ever hear nothing about them. Nobody went to them. And nothing was said or nothing was brought up, and then the same guys are pissing and moaning because nothing was said or nothing was brought up.
Yeah,
they're like, nobody said anything, but we didn't go either, and I'm guilty of it too.
Oh yeah,
I've been in that position to where it's like, man, we really need to do something, and I've been in that position a long time, and I'm just now being able to fulfill some of that.
Yeah.
We were talking to Ryan Rankin. They've got the Tulsa Standard Hunt coming up. We're co-hosting it with them. They're using the big bore score and all that, and we're very thankful to be involved in that. But we had the KSBA, which is the Kimmer Stock Breeders Association, coon dogs and squirrel dogs. That's what they do with Kimmers, the general consensus, right? A tree-minded dog. Well, a lot of hog hunters run them, and there's some bear hunters. There's some guys that run them on lines and stuff out west too. Well, the KSBA donated or sponsored, became a sponsor for the Tulsa Standard Hunt. Not just that, like they want to start sponsoring all the hunts that, even though they're not the normal thing that they do, it's coming together.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things, and it really, really made me feel like I accomplished something. It's not just me; it's a bunch of people.
Yeah, but you had a hand in it.
I've been preaching this since I started, and there's a lot of guys that do it, but most of them get tired of preaching it and they just shut up, don't do anything. But the whole thing, hey, we all need to stick together. When there was two gentlemen that come up, and the youngest one is probably in his early 70s, he said, guys, we want to be like y'all. We want to work with other houndsmen and not just talk about it. Man, hey, me and Jeremy Gardner was out there. We were like looking at each other. Nate was standing over there. We was all just kind of looking like, this is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for me too, looking at it, it's like when I started going to these deals, of course, like I was my early 20s. I'm 33 now, but like you're seeing, no offense, but it's a lot of older people.
Yes.
And you're like, hey man, like they're doing a great job, but what are they about to do in 10 years? What are they about to do in 15 years? Like who's going to step up and take these positions and kind of, hold the line on these things that are going on? I mean, you see it all the time. There's organizations start up and they're doing great. And then of course people get busy, life happens and all this, everything else. And then it'll stop. Well, then if we don't, the other side is so organized. Like,
oh shit, yes, it's a business for them.
Beyond measure. I'm like, lawyers, like I said, when you get into it, you see that they have law firms, not just lawyers, whole firms that are on retainer, like for HSPCA and like all these other animal rights groups. Like they're on retainer 24/7 for anything to pop up. And there's no organization besides like SCI that has like in Dow Safari Club that have lawyers like that, and it's still not even to that level. So we're already at a disadvantage. And of course, we'd love to spend more time out, hunting and fishing and doing the things we love than walking into a meeting for 3 hours to get to the one topic point that we're there for, because they're covering 19 other things. And like I said, it's a lot harder than just, passively doing it, like reading the newspaper. But when you do find a resource that does give that information and they say, hey, guys, there's a meeting here. A lot of them now, luckily, are virtual. You can send in comments on email. There's even a couple that do text stuff. So one organization, they did a lot of stuff for Colorado. It was, they got it down to the point where they send you an email. They have certain actions, certain things that you could vote on or like write, what's it called? Write a letter to a certain senator. They had the letter drafted up already, and all you had to do was, type in your name and it put it on the letter and emailed it to them. That's all you had to do. 3 clicks and you were done. And it's like if Hal could grow, or we have other regional people kind of have that kind of deal to where I already have the letter drafted for you. I just need you to read it, make sure that you agree with it. Don't just sign it just because it comes in your email, but make sure you agree with it. And all you got to do is add your name, and it gets sent directly to these representatives and these senators that are voting on this stuff. And I'm sure if they get a email box full of all these emails saying, hey, we need to keep hunting and fishing, we need to not ban hound hunting, we need to keep hunting predators and all that kind of stuff, like it has an effect.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. It would be, like you said, when you were saying a while ago about going to these events or going to these places and meetings, and it's generally older people. That has never been more true. And if we don't get younger people involved, and younger people, it doesn't necessarily mean like 18 years old. but
Yeah.
30s and 40s or whatever, and have a little bit different point of view, maybe a fresh set of eyes on stuff. There's so many people that try to run away from any type of responsibility like that. So,
and I'll say too, it's not like a lot of these organizations are really, appealing to that younger crowd as much.
Shit, yeah. And that's the thing. I agree.
Don't get me wrong. I like the whole fur coat deal and like putting on a tuxedo, maybe, but if that's all you're presenting is events to have and these galas where you're just, sitting around, you got to kind of have something to bring in the younger crowd too. Right.
Yes. Without a doubt. And that's the thing about it. There's very, very few that are ever going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll die out before a lot of it changes. We're our own worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
And that it's a sad deal, but that's what it is. And so I don't know if maybe some of the younger guys might need to start another organization. And put some fresh stuff out there. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean also it's on a regional level too. Like you have these CCA banquets and different organizations closer, like on the regional level. Like go to them. Like I mean that's a great excuse to go maybe buy a duck hunt in an auction or they have puppies, they have like all kinds of stuff in these auctions. Whoever the organization gets to donate stuff, there's artwork at these things and all different kind of stuff, and it's also usually a good meal, a good little date night maybe for your wife.
Yeah.
because we all know we spend too much time hunting and probably don't go out like take our wives out like we should, but like that's a good excuse to kind of mix both of them together. Like, hey babe, let's get dressed, it's what, $40 for this plate, we'll go have a good time. Shoot, I mean, get some friends together, get a table, like and just have a good time. Like I said, I've told a lot of people, especially like with the exotics here in Texas and even going to hunt in Africa. I haven't been, my wife has, but like if you go to these auctions, Dallas Safari Club, Houston Safari Club, SCI, and most of them you don't even have to go to now. They have like the links where you can just log into them and stuff, and you can bid on stuff. I sat at a table with this guy at Houston Safari Club, didn't know him, first time meeting him, and Megan was taking pictures at this event, covering it, and I got to tag along. And this guy, he was, I think 22, he just graduated college, and he was there with his parents at this deal because he came home for whatever from college, graduate. And this hunt comes up for Africa for 7 animals. You could pick all plains game, Gims, buck, impala, stuff, the smaller animals like that. But it was 6 nights, 7 days, or 7 nights, 6 days, something like that. All your housing, lodging was included, and it was going in this auction for like $800 for 2 people.
Right.
So that means it's if you get a buddy, that's $400. The only thing you got to cover is your plane ticket over there, right? And you're gonna go stay in Africa and hunt for a week.
Damn. Yeah.
So he's like trying to like buy this hunt. He's like, man, I don't know if I have all the money. So he gets on the phone and he calls his brother. He said, hey, if I buy this hunt right now, and I think by then it got up to like $900. He said, if I buy this hunt right now, you want to split it with me? He goes, yeah, hell yeah, I do. He goes, raised his hand. He wound up winning the bid at $900, and him and his brother split that trip, bought their plane tickets. I think they're like his parents or some were there. They said that, like, they had some points that they had, so their plane ticket wasn't even going to be as expensive. It like knocked some off that. I mean, if you can hustle and do stuff like that, like you can go travel and see different things, hunt different places. And like I said, if your local organizations are doing it, like they're giving away, auctioning off hunts and things, that it's a reason to go out and see these organizations.
Yep. And that support right there is a way to support everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of folks are going to think, well, I'm not going to make a difference. It's just like voting. It's like, well, I'm not going to make a difference anyway. Well, you don't know that. Get your ass up there and do it. And see
Exactly.
see what happens. You know.
And who knows? You show up to this event, you might sit down at a table with an older gentleman with 10,000 acres, and ain't nobody hunting it.
Or
but
an
him,
older
but
lady.
him.
Or an older lady with 10,000
Yeah.
acres that
There
ain't
you
got
go.
nobody cutting her grass.
Exactly. I
You
mean,
know what
like
I'm
I said,
saying?
these people love hunting too, and they like
Yeah.
giving back and helping other people go hunt and do things too.
So on these events like that, how often do you go to these, Randy? You go to the bigger ones like that. Did you say you were getting ready for SHOT Show and stuff like that earlier, right?
Yeah. So I part of my job, like I take care of kind of all the logistics stuff. So all the swag and like some of the stuff that we have in the booth, I'm shipping it out. I'm not going to SHOT Show, but the rest of my team
Gotcha.
is. But we have, of course, our sales team and our marketing team go to these different trade shows because we have booths and stuff there. So I coordinate, like I said, all the shirts, the T-shirts, the hats, the patches, and all that's in the booth, and some of the guns and stuff that we have displayed. Like I take care of all the serial paperwork for all that with the ATF and transferring so people can carry them and be legal.
Gotcha.
But I usually go to Texas Trophy Hunters Association, which is a state organization, but they were bought by SCI, which is Safari Club International,
Yep.
Which is a national organization. So I usually go to their events in the summer. They have one in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. They call them the Hunters Extravaganza. I've been to the San Antonio and the Houston one. I used to go to past couple of years. I've been going to Dallas Safari Club, which they have theirs in Dallas, but they moved because of renovations to the convention center. So they were in Atlanta this year. So I wasn't making that trip, not just for that. But Dallas Safari Club, and then West Texas SCI, which I'm going to this weekend. We shoot content for them, so that's why we're going. But I have some buddies that I hunt with that are part of that organization. So I go to quite a few of them, all the ones I can. Of course, I like going and walking around, not just mingling with people, but I like seeing all the different guides and outfitters, because that's a lot of what it is, and a lot of gear. You can get a lot of discounts on stuff, show specials as they call it there, and it's just fun to walk around and see everything. A lot of them have like big buck contests that you can enter and all different stuff. So it's cool to see that. Like a lot of the Texas Trophy Hunters, they'll have the rattlesnake pit where there's a couple dudes walking around. They got rattlesnakes all around and just crawling around on the floor, but they got them like contained. Yeah. But all the different vendors, a lot of local gun stores, a lot of local call makers. I mean, anything to do with the outdoors, a lot of those, the regional local guys are at these shows rather than, of course, you go to DSC and SCI, you're going to see like the bigger name brands. You're going to have Sitka booths and Browning booths and stuff. But like Texas Trophy Hunter, there's a lot of smaller people that you can support that make stuff, a lot of art and everything.
Yeah. And that's who, to me, that's who really could use the support the most.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the bigger folks, they gotta generate revenue or they can't be big. Yep. Period. But the people that are, like you said, they're more of an artisan, that they can, one or two little items really makes a difference in their life.
Oh yeah. Like I used to work at Academy Sports and Outdoors, like this big chain box store here in Texas and the Southeast too. But now like I look at it, it was a cool place to work, but like that's for baseball, running. Yes. You want to get some shoes, like that kind of side. They really went away from the hunting and the fishing stuff. I mean, they carry stuff, but how many times have you walked into Academy looking for some ammo and like walk in there and then they ain't got it? And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's not like uncommon calibers and stuff, but you got to support those smaller gun shops that carry that stuff. And when you ask for something, the person looking at you that you're talking to actually knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my favorite ones there. They can save you so much headache and heartache and grief and steer you in the right direction They're
Yeah.
not. They're not. I mean, they need to make a sale, but
Oh yeah.
they don't put their integrity above making a sale before making a sale.
No.
They're not going to tell you a line. It's like, oh yeah, but this is the greatest thing ever, knowing it's a piece of shit. They're going to be like, hey, this thing. Look, man. If you want it, you can get it, but you could get this other one over here. It's better. It might be a cheaper product, but that's the kind of companies I really like to deal with there.
Yep. Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of people that would rather deal with them no matter what, but they get swayed by that green-eyed monster, about the money part. They're like, well, I can go to one of these big box stores and I can get it dirt cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they even have it,
But no, it's like you said, it's supporting those smaller businesses and stuff. I mean, I like doing that. I don't know if y'all seen like Montana Knife Company. Have y'all heard of Josh Smith and them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is by far one of the craziest, coolest stories. Like if there's ever there needs to be a movie made about that. Like his story. I'm not sure if y'all know it, but like he was a lineman before, and he quit his job to get it going and all that kind of stuff. And he's a master bladesmith. But like, I like supporting those companies because I know at the end of the day, like that dude's doing that to feed his family rather than, no offense, but Academy, where it's like, of course, those people are trying to feed their families too, but it's not the same, I guess.
It's not the same at all. Not at all.
No.
Because like I said, like I said a while ago, they need to make a sale, but they won't put that integrity above it.
Yeah.
They're not, or before it, they're not going to be like, oh, I'll do that no matter what. Even though knowing that they would do anything they have to do to feed their families.
Yeah.
They would. But and they work hard. A lot of the products are going to be made right here in the USA. When you deal with a smaller, individually owned company instead of a publicly traded, stock-owned company,
Yep.
I really like that stuff. So you said you deal with the silencers or suppressors and all that.
Yep.
You got any kind of new stuff out there right now? What's the hot ticket right now?
Oh man.
We'll
a lot of this stuff.
We'll go over a couple things like that before we cut it.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff right now is like all these new calibers that are coming out. Guys trying to build rifles. Of course, now they're figuring out with different ballistics and different bullets that you can make shorter barreled stuff. You don't have to have a 28-inch rifle anymore and still get the same performance. Like I'm getting into it. I really like it. Like the long range stuff intrigues me. Like I really want to start doing some of that, even just target shooting. But I want to do some, like go antelope hunting out west and shoot one at 550 or something like that. Like I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
but mostly it's like the new calibers that are coming out, like the 338 arc, where they're taking these larger bullets and putting them in shorter casings and seeing pretty good performance on what you're trying to do downrange. Shooting a big bullet with a short casing makes that powder burn pretty quick, so it's moving. But like a lot of that's happened. Like I said, we do a lot of with SBRs, which are short barrel rifles. So anything shorter than 16 inches, you're seeing guys hunt with like 300 blackout, 6 arc, 338 arc. There's a 8.6 blackout. A lot of these larger calibers and shorter casings and short barrels. So making good truck guns, as you say, because now you can get into something. I mean, something that's pretty accurate out to 300 yards in less than 18 inches long with a suppressor. Like it's real maneuverable. So here in Texas, like we talk about truck guns a lot because I mean, a lot of the places we're driving on, like there's way more coyotes in Texas shot checking cows than dudes going out there with callers actually calling for them. I'll tell you that for sure. But like having those short truck guns, and then of course being able to suppress it and make it quiet and not have that loud ringing, because nobody ever remembers hearing protection, even though you should.
I know.
Yeah, and then you're yelling "ha" when somebody's trying to talk to you. But man, the way we talk about it is like you either shoot civilized or you shoot uncivilized. Uncivilized is without a suppressor. Civilized is with a suppressor. And I think once you shoot with one, it's real hard going back to without one because it's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So on all these new calibers and stuff like that, what's the one you've seen that, as far as like an all around go to caliber, if you were going to build a truck gun, just per se, and for the ranch or the farm, what caliber would it be in?
I'd probably go with 2. Now, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional by any means, and I'm sure there's going to be some. Well, I would do it this way, sure.
We don't give a damn what they say.
One of my favorite guns that I have a Ruger American Ranch rifle in 300 Blackout.
Okay.
And it's a bolt gun, and it's got a short barrel, and I got a suppressor for it. That I've killed a lot of stuff with that gun. That's one of my favorites. So, I mean, within 100 yards, 150 yards, which is most of the shots that we're going to have here, like that thing's dead on. It's point, put it on them, pull the trigger, and it's going down. Like I love that rifle. Now I'm building right now a 6 ARC, which is one of the newer calibers. I'm building it in an AR because it's bigger than a 5.56. But you have the longer range performance, kind of a 308, but it fits in a small frame AR. So instead of going up to like an AR-10, you can still use the AR-15 platform and build this off of. So a lot of guys are, like I said, shooting whitetail. There's some guys shooting coyotes and predators with it. That's what it started out as. You're shooting anywhere from a 60 grain up to a 108 grain bullet, and it's depending on your, like with ARs, it's usually running about like 2,600 feet per second. So pretty good, but that caliber really like shines in a bolt gun about 20 inches long, and you're sending 108 grain bullet downrange at like 3,200 feet per second. Yeah, so you're cooking. So those are real good. Of course, you can play with, if you reload or do anything like that, you can make them a little hotter and get up to that. But most of your factory stuff, you can touch 3,000 feet per second. But if you know how to cook it right, then you can get up there with the speeds and everything. So that's the newest caliber that I'm messing with right now. Of course, there's some other ones that I haven't got into, but I'm sure it's coming. I wish I could be like I'm just a dog guy, or like I'm just a bow guy, because I shoot bows and stuff, or even just like pick one animal to hunt. But man, I like hunting all of it. So I'm just out on everything, because it's like, well, I want to do this. Well, I want to do this. Well, I'm kind of everywhere on that, but I just love doing it. I mean, I used to hate turkey hunting, and now I love it. I'm counting down the days now because I can go shoot one in the face, but I just love it all. So I'm kind of screwed on that end.
I heard that.
I know where all my money's going every time I get paid.
It's an investment. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's an investment.
That's exactly right.
No, man, that's pretty cool though. I mean, it's good to have somebody on here that, man, you can relate to so many things. We can relate to the same things, but just kind of, we're different people. But we do so many of the same things, and we can relate to a lot of it. And it's good to have somebody that can relate to us and the things that we do as well. So, I mean,
for sure,
it's pretty cool. And
like I said, I've been a fan of y'all's for a long time, listening to the podcast. And when I first started listening to it, I like the fact that, because like I said, nobody in my immediate family hunted, so I think it's real cool when fathers and sons hunt and stuff. And now I got a son on the way, so I'm pretty excited to go hunting with him and everything when he gets here. So
sweet.
It's gonna be a good time.
Most definitely.
It will be a great time until he gets about 15 years old, and then you want to pinch him. You want to pinch him. Don't you run on? No, it's one of those deals now where, everybody's, talks about handing the torch off. Well, I ain't giving my torch up. You can light your own torch.
Yeah, we can hold it here together.
That's right. We can have 2 torches, and then when I get too old to carry my torch, then there'll be another one that's right there that can light his torch, and I'll just put my torch out. That's what.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many people that do that. It's a continuing thing, you know, through generations that of dogmen that do this generation after generation. And one of these days, I hope I get to that status to where I'm actually truly a dogman. And maybe when I'm 80 years old, I'll be considered one. But it's also, I think each dogman has to be their own self. You know, if all you do is take some dogs that somebody else already had and done all the work and done all the headache and all the heartache, well, all you did was just take over something.
Yeah.
You didn't start your own thing. You didn't do your own thing. And you can like Nate and I, we do our own things with the same dogs. That's what's so cool about it. Like he takes a couple of dogs and he does totally different than what I do, but I'm involved with it. And then I want to do something totally different, but he's involved with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where people kind of forget to just kind of be yourself, be happy with what you do. If you're happy with it, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing.
Nope.
When he first wanted to make a multi-purpose dog, I was like, well, there's guys who've been doing it for decades. Everybody said they were crazy too. Yeah, like, oh, you're going to take...
made me feel crazy.
Well, and there's days where we're like, this is crazy because you're taking a young dog and asking him to do so much. But once he hits his stride...
when they do it, it's awesome. But when they don't, you're like, oh.
But now it's to where it's very seldom that they not do it. If they didn't, they wouldn't even be here.
After all the trials, you get it straightened out.
Yes.
Keep whittling it
down. It's like I've seen cow dogs, like you said, it's just like we're going out to work cows and then, you know, some hogs pop up. So they get on the hogs, you know, you put them on the hogs, we go mess around with that and go back to working cows. Yeah. And then the next day it's like, well, we can't go, hogs pop up again. It's like, well, we can't go chase those hogs. So we don't put the dogs on them. And then the dogs don't even mess with them. Like they know. They know. Yep. You know, he said we can mess with him yesterday, but not today. We're busy. We got to get done with what we're doing.
Without a doubt.
Because we messed off yesterday.
and that's right. We do it all the time. Like Louie, Nate's got a dog named Louie, and we carried him this past weekend and hog hunted him. And dude, he found I don't know how many, bayed I don't know how many times, ran I couldn't tell you how many miles. And then the whole month before, he was not turned loose on a hog at all. He blood trailed deer, found everyone that was able to be found. The rest of them were still alive. There was only 2 of those, and like he did
10 out of 12.
He didn't trash on nothing else. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? He didn't freak out and run off over here. But guess what? If we want to go squirrel hunting, you can.
Yeah. He's game.
Yeah,
he's game.
And that's the crazy thing.
Louis likes it all.
This year, he's starting to come into his stride. And like, you know, he's becoming a dog. And he doesn't even like if he's blood trailing a deer, he won't even look at a squirrel. Now last season he did a little bit. He would be like
he look at the squirrel run by, like looking at us. And
he's like, do I?
Okay,
just say the word. Just say the word.
He's like, do we like that guy today, or are we getting him?
And last summer he was actually running a hog or running a track. The pigs that came across, and I'd seen the pigs, and they had made a couple loops, and the dogs finally figured it out. And so I said, well, let's see what he does here. And when he come through there literally was a gray squirrel runner right in front of him. He took a hard left, and he made a loop around that tree. And he looked up, and he put his head back down, and he took off after the pigs. I said, he got it. He's got it now.
Yeah.
And you know, that you just ask a lot out of some of these dogs, but being able to be involved with my son, I get to do all these things, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, because it wouldn't be near as fun without it.
Oh, yeah.
No, sir, not at all.
It would
I'm
be
gonna have to
it'd
get
be a
me
lot
some.
calmer.
For me personally,
Yeah.
and I agree. I'm a big critique on a lot of things, like especially like dogs and how we hunt and stuff like that. And Dad will be like, "Well, you're just spoiled." I'm like,
He is.
I've been like, "Well, if I
Yeah.
didn't know what a good dog was, then you'd be getting my ass because you'd be like, come on now." He'd be like, "You've only
Yeah,
been spoiled with
exactly.
good dogs," and I'd be like, "Well, I thought we were supposed to have good ones."
Well, and that's the
Exactly.
thing. I've told them time and time. They're like, "Well, we've carried this dog 2 times and we haven't made 87 hogs." Well, he's never seen one yet. Well, the other ones did. Yep, that's a little different. But I'm just saying, as in general, it has.
Yeah.
We went with dogs though that we went out. We're like, the dogs were so good. I mean, just really, really
Yeah.
good. And we've had a few the past year or so. That first time we ever carried them out, literally, they jumped hogs and ran hogs, and they had never even seen one in a pen. Nothing. So I was like, well, something is going good.
You've done something right. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of it just falls in our lap. We don't push the issue. If it ain't
Yeah.
broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give me some young ones here pretty soon. Because like I've had mine for a while. Like they're coming on 12 and 11 now.
Yeah.
So I had to get some young ones going. And might have to step back in the bay pen a little bit. It was a lot of fun. I took them down to that Cat Daddy one too, and I entered them there, and that was pretty good. And when they had an Edna, it was back in December.
Yes.
And they did real good there too. But my female I had one rule when I took them down there. My wife said, don't let them get cut. And that's kind of what happened. Had a little nick, but we got it taken care of and everything was good on my female. But she's like, yeah, we're going to have to get you some young dogs now if you're going to want to do this thing. Cause I don't know about having them hurt because we've had them for so long. So
yeah, that's right. And
all that sounds to me is permission to have more dogs. So I'm not
she
complaining
gave
one
you
bit.
permission. Yes. and hey, you can't stand in the way of that. It's God's will.
No, sure can't. Yep, sure
God's
can't.
will.
It's God's will. There's Hunter and Kyle, the couple guys we know, have become really good friends with us. They have an uncle named Joey, and that's the way he is. He's like, hey, it's God's will. Who am I to get in the way of that? It's a great philosophy. It's the truth too. I mean, like,
yes, sir.
It's God's will. She wants you to have more dogs.
Yep.
But hey, here's the thing about it though. A couple of guys, or a few guys down in that area.
Yes,
Trey and Josh and them. If anybody in the world can get you a dog,
oh yeah.
Well, look at 12. They hated that dog.
Yeah, I know.
And 12 smoking it. So if the dog sucks that bad, that's the one I want from them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, man, Brandon, I know we've kept you for a couple of hours now. We've had a good time talking, just shooting the shit and having a good time.
Sir.
It's good to get to talk to you, to get to know you, to have somebody that does the same kind of stuff we do. If there's anything that we can do, if you need us for anything, and I mean that, anybody that knows me for real knows I mean that. All you got to do is holler at us.
We'll do, man. We'll
let us know. And if you ever want to come to Alabama, the door's open. Come on, we'll go catch some pigs, or we'll run some.
All right.
I ain't gonna say we're gonna catch them, but we'll run the hell out of them.
I'm down with that too. I've traveled a little bit to go hunt, so if when I call, I just know I'm coming.
Hey, come on! Like them boys will tell you. Like there's quite a few of them now that know. We got a little setup at the house. We're not rich people. We don't have a bunch of extravagant shit and all that. We're just simple country folks, and we love to hunt. We love to run dogs, and that's what we do.
Yes, sir.
So
Same people,
if you ever
for
want
sure.
to go, come on.
Well, sounds good, boys. I appreciate it.
All right, Brandon. Well, man, you have a good night, and we're gonna keep on listening and paying attention to what you got going on. We're gonna keep our eye on you, and then
sounds good.
You just don't get too famous on us.
Mm-hmm. No, I ain't gonna do that. Not at all.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good one, man.
You too.
We'll see you, man. Thanks.
See you.
Late night.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Man, he's cool as hell. That was a good one. And that was one of those right there that just kind of, for listeners out there, it was just talking. just having a relationship, build a rapport with somebody that does the same kind of stuff that we do. They're in the industry. They're from the business side of it. But they're also from the everyday side of it. Mm-hmm. Brandon does this stuff day in and day out in some form or fashion. He's dealing with the hunting industry, and so he's somebody that is that's up there on the ladder in my eyes. And I'm glad we got him on here. We really appreciate having him. Y'all make sure to check out their podcast that he does, is Tejas Hunt Club. Mm-hmm.
I'll have everything linked down below in the description.
Nate will put it down there in the description. And y'all just keep on keeping on, man. That's all we're gonna do.
That's right.
I am wore out. I'm ready to take me something for the stuffy nose, because I can't be a mouth breather over here. I got my eyes closed, over here like that. And I apologize if it sounds like I'm huffing and puffing, but that's what it is. And so, till the next time, we out.
Thank you. Hope y'all enjoyed that episode. Stay tuned for our new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. For questions, advertising, or just to chat, email DixieDoggers01@gmail.com.